Have you been taught that there's a pre-trib rapture and that Jesus Yeshua takes the bride before the tribulation? Well, that's actually not true, nor is it biblical. And I want to show you a little bit in Matthew 24 of Jesus Yeshua's own words so you know for yourself. So as you can see, even Yeshua himself tells us there is absolutely no pre-trib rapture. He returns after the tribulation of those days. Those who are taken are the dead. Be careful, kiddos. Keep your eyes wide open. Love you all. He begins telling us about the signs of the times and the end of the age. And he says, take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, earthquakes in various places. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. These are believers. They will be we, the believers, will be delivered up to tribulation and persecution. They will kill us for his name's sake. These are believers who believe in Yeshua. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. And because lawlessness, not lawfulness, this is disobedience to the law, those who don't obey the law. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. Remember, the law is how to love God and how to love each other. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. Wait a minute, kiddos. See, we have to endure to the end. We aren't raptured out of here. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. Therefore, when you see, we'll be here, we're going to see this, the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place. Whoever reads, let him understand. Now remember, this is after Antiochus Epiphanes, years before Yeshua was here, had already defiled the temple. So this is not talking about that abomination. This is talking about a future one of the Antichrist. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not go down to take anything out of his house. And let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing babies in those days. And pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. Okay, now first of all, this shows we're still keeping the Shabbat, the Sabbath, Sabbaton. Okay, that's that word. But this is a Hebrew idiom. Jesus Yeshua was a Jew. He understood the Hebrew culture. When they say, pray that your flight may not be in the winter or on the Sabbath, this is a Hebrew way of saying it will be now. I promise you, if you go to the rabbis in Jerusalem or Jerusalem today, to Israel today, they will tell you when they're teaching you, this is a form of teaching, and when they pray that something doesn't happen, they're literally telling you that's going to happen, okay? So Yeshua is telling us that our flight will be in the winter. There's only two main seasons in Hebrew, by the way. There's winter and summer, just so you know. Chayitz and chaver. I think I said the last one wrong, sorry. And then on the Sabbath. So obviously Israel is always attacked on the Sabbath anyway. We know that. We know that they attack the biblical Sabbaths, Shabbats of Yahweh. Just remember that. Think about all the Yom Kippur War. Think about this last October 7th drama. So remember, we are attacked on the Sabbath, okay? For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Again, showing we will be here. What we were already told we're going to be given up to tribulation and killed for his name's sake. So we believe in his name, right? We're going to be persecuted for him. Right here, it says the days are shortened for those of us here. Then if anyone says to you, look, here's the Messiah, or there, do not believe, for false messiahs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. And remember, we are told throughout the prophets and Daniel and Revelation that Satan will have many signs and lying wonders. Be careful. Just because the sign comes true doesn't mean they're of Yahweh. That's in Deuteronomy 13. It says that if a prophet takes you away from the ways in the Torah of God. They're a false prophet, and it's sent to test your heart. And even if their signs or wonders come to pass, don't listen to them. It says in Deuteronomy 13, Yahweh's testing your heart. In fact, let me show you. If there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder comes to pass of which he spoke to you, saying, let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them. You shall not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh your Elohim is testing you to know whether you love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after Yahweh your Elohim and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice. You shall serve him and hold fast to him. Okay, but the prophet that's going to take you away, so the way you hold fast to Yahweh and fear him is by keeping his commandments. This person up here, the false prophet, that takes you away from his ways and says to serve other gods, like doing Christmas, pagan, because Christmas was for a pagan holiday. Easter was a pagan holiday thing because the Bible says Jesus, Yeshua, rose on Feast of First Fruits, etc. That person is sinning and testing your heart. Okay, back to Matthew. Here we go. Okay, so don't let them deceive you. Verse 25. See, I have told you beforehand, therefore if they say to you, look, he's in the desert, do not go out, or look, he's in the inner rooms, do not believe. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcass is, wherever the dead body is, there the eagles will be gathered. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, after the tribulation, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then, so after the tribulation, then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven. After the tribulation, then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. This is after the tribulation. We meet him in the air. And then where do we go? Let me show you in Zechariah. Well, it tells us in Zechariah 14, behold, the day of Yahweh is coming. This is Judgment Day, Yom Kippur, the day on which Yeshua judges the world. He returns at Yom Teruah, Feast of Trumpets, which is the only biblical holiday, which we never know the day or the hour of in advance. 10 days later then, we have Yom Kippur, Yom HaKippurim, right? Okay, and your spoil will be developed. Okay, let's keep going. This is just talking about the day of the Lord. And then it says right here, then the Lord, then Yahweh will go forth and fight against those nations as he fights in the day of battle. And in that day, his feet, Yeshua's feet, will stand on the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east. And what happens? Look at right here. Thus Yahweh my Elohim will come and all the saints with you. It says him in the Hebrew here. Yahweh my Elohim will come with all the saints with him. So we meet him in the air at the sound of the trump on the Feast of Trumpets, and we come with him to Mount of Olives to fight the great battle of Armageddon and to establish his kingdom in Jerusalem, which that's all biblical. Of course, everybody knows when Yeshua returns, he reigns from Jerusalem, not America, not England, not South America, in Jerusalem. And Yahweh, remember when Yeshua returns, he's called Yahweh Sidkenu, Yahweh my righteousness, and there he is. And he is called God again here. Yeshua is called God, and he comes with the saints with him to the Mount of Olives, the mountain from which he ascended. This is pretty cool, huh? Let's continue in Matthew 23. Okay, so right here, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of the trumpet, and they will gather together his elect. Now, the sound of the trumpet, remember, when Yeshua returns, he returns on the Feast of Trumpets. That's the sound of the trumpet, the Yom Teruah. That word there, Yom Teruah, is day of shouting, day of trumpets. It's the only holiday we don't know the day or the hour of in advance because it could happen over a 3-day period of time when we're waiting for the new moon sighting. If you don't know the biblical Moedim, reach out. We'll talk about that. Now learn the parable from the fig tree. When its branch is already to become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you also, when you see all these things, know that it's near at the doors. Surely I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means will pass away. Look, here's where I wanted to get. But of that day and hour, no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Now, that's a Hebrew idiom. This is how, like a bridegroom in Israel today, if you ask him when he's getting married, he say, I do not know the day or the hour, only my Father knows. So he's saying he's not telling us. But as in the days of Noah, but as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. What happened in the days of Noah? For as in the days of Noah before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them took them all away. Through what? Through death. So also will the coming of the Son of Man be. Then 2 will be in the field, and 1 will be taken, dead, and the other left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, 1 will be taken, dead, taken away like in the flood, and the other left. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming, but know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore, you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect.